Okay, so I have my background here, and remember last class we did our circle with the little spots. Well, now I made holes by each little dash that you made. So this is what your front will look like. You've got your painting and all the little holes. Now these holes are where our string art is going to start. So I am going to first grab a yarn from the yarn store, and I will thread my needle. Okay, I just need a little tail like that, and then I have a nice long tail. I'm gonna start on the back side, and I am going to put my needle through, and it can go in any hole, but this is the hole that your design is gonna radiate from. We are working on the radiating design. And I'm gonna pull my long tail through until I end up with just a small little tail on the back side. I'm not gonna knot it, I'm just gonna secure it with a piece of tape. I have that nice and secure. And now, like I said, this is gonna be the hole that my whole design radiates from. So I'm gonna grab my needle and I'm gonna go one over, and I'm gonna go down from the front to the back side, and I might kind of have to pull kind of hard. These first couple ones are going to be kind of hard. You're gonna need to use those muscles, and I'm just gonna pull that through. Okay, so there's my first one. Now I'm gonna go from the back side back to that beginning hole that I did, and I'm gonna go up through the beginning hole. So I'm always kind of going up through that hole, and then I'm gonna go down through the next hole. So I'm just gonna keep going around the circle. So I'm pulling this up. And now I'm gonna go to the next hole, which is this one here, and I'm gonna go back down through that hole, pulling it all the way through. And again, I'm gonna come up through that middle hole. And I'm just gonna keep working my way around. So I'll go to this one, and then the following, and I'll just keep working the way around until I get back down to this one. And I'm always coming up through this same one that I started with. Okay, and now I have just a little bit of tail left. I am not done going all the way around, so I am just going to take another piece of tape, and I'm gonna secure that tail to the back, and I'm gonna grab another piece of yarn. I'll need to thread that onto my needle. And then I was going back down to come up through this middle part, so I'm just gonna continue on with where I was. And again, with this first one, I need to make sure that I always secure my tails. So grabbing a piece of tape and putting that there. And then just continuing on until I get back down here. Okay, and then I'm back to my last hole here. I'm gonna go under here, and then that's what the front's gonna look like. The back, I've got this long tail, so I'm just gonna snip it so I've got a shorter tail, and again, I'm gonna secure it with a piece of tape. So that is the first part of the radiating design. Now we're gonna do another one, and this one I'm gonna start on the opposite side with a different color of yarn. So for my example here, I've got some black yarn, but you can choose whatever color you would like. I am going to grab and thread my needle. And then this design, I want to radiate opposite from where I was radiating before. So this is where I had started before. I'm gonna start opposite, which would be over this way. So again, starting from the back and going to the front, pulling through. Leaving myself a little tail and taping that down. And then I'm just gonna continue and go the same way. So go into one and then just continue my way around. So go down through the one next to it. And then up through that starting point. And over to the next. And then once I come through that last hole there, again, I'm just going to cut that short and tape it off. Now, I have covered my name with all the yarn, so I need to make sure that I grab a marker and just write my name somewhere where I can see it. And then there you have your radiating design for the string art. Okay, so I have my background here, and last class we did our circle on the back with the little dashes. Now where the circle and the dashes intersect, there are now holes, and that is where we will be attaching and threading our strings through. So to start with, you're gonna grab a color, a yarn, any color you would like, and you are going to thread your needle. I am then going to start from the back anywhere on this circle here, and I'm going to thread my needle through one of the holes, again going from the back side to the front side, pulling it through. I want to pull it all the way through until I get just a little tail on the end, and I'm going to get a piece of tape and I'm going to secure that tail down with my piece of tape here. Now, from the front side, I'm gonna just go one over and thread back down through. I'm going to go from the back, on the back side, to that original hole that I went down, my very starting hole, and I'm gonna pull my needle through. I'm gonna move my yarn over. Oop, I've got a little knot here, hold on. Okay. So now instead of going to the one right next to my original hole, I'm gonna go to the next one, this one here, and I'm gonna push my needle back down through to the back side. And then again, back up through my original hole that I started with. And I'm just gonna keep doing this, moving over one hole each time until I have 6 strings on the front. So right now I just have 2, so I'm gonna keep going until I get all 6. Okay, so I have my 6 strings on the front, and I just cut my strings so that I just have that little tail. And then on the back side, I am again gonna secure it with a piece of tape. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a new piece of string with a different color here. And then I'm gonna take my new piece of string, this is a little bit of a lighter red here. And I'm gonna thread my needle. And now I'm gonna do the same thing, do the 6 strands, but instead of going from this one that I started with before, I'm gonna move over one, and I'm gonna start, this is gonna be my starting point. So I'm gonna start by going from the back to the front and pulling it through until I have a small tail. Don't pull it all the way through. Okay, so I've got my small tail, and again, I'm just gonna secure it to the back with a piece of tape. And then I'm gonna do the same thing, moving one over. So when I move one over, it's gonna be the starting point of my last string. So I'm gonna go down through that hole, pulling through. And then I'm always coming back up through that starting hole. So this is the starting hole for this string. And instead of going over this one, I'm gonna go one more. And then back up through that same starting hole. And continuing until I have those 6 strings. Okay, I taped that one off there. So this is what my front is looking like now. I've got my 2 colors. I'm moving on to my 3rd color here. And I'm gonna do the same thing, but instead of starting in that same spot, I'm gonna move over my start hold to this one right here. Pulling it so I have just that little tail and securing the tail to the back side. And then just moving over to the next one here. And doing this until I have my 6 strings of this color. Okay, I'm gonna go with my next color. This is gonna be the same as my first color for me, but you could do a different color if you wanted. It doesn't have to be the same as that first color you chose. That's just what I decided to do for my design. And I'm gonna keep going until I get to the point where I just have one left. So I'm gonna just speed this up here and show you kind of what I'm gonna do and how it's gonna look when I'm finished here. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna stop. I have all of my holes filled except for one. If you wanted to, you could just keep going. So you have just like a small circle going too. If you've got more time, definitely just keep going with your pattern. That would be very cool as well, but this would be finished enough too. So this is my spectrum design here with my string out. Now I'm going to be working on the tumbling square design. So I am going to take my first piece of yarn here and thread my needle. And then just like before, I'm going to start on the back side, any hole here, and I am going to kind of pull it through until I have just a small little tail on the back. And then I'm just going to take a piece of tape and tape down the tail to secure it. And now I'm going to count 4 holes. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to go down to the back side on that fourth hole. Now from the back, I'm going to count in 4 holes going the same way that I've been going. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it should be directly across from the hole that I started. And I'm going to pull that through. Now I'm going to go back down to make an angle. This would be a right angle, a 90-degree angle here. And that's what it should look like there. From here, I'm going to go back up the hole here that I last went through, so that hole that's straight across again from where I started. I'm going to go back up. And I'm going to count another 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go down my 4th hole here. And I'm just trying to draw a square with my yarn. So I know that I need to complete this line here, but I am on the back side right now with my needle, so I need to come back up. So I'm going to come back up over where I started. And I am going to go back down here. Now that I have that square, I can go ahead and cut it off, or I can do one more square, which is what I'm gonna do because I have a good amount of yarn left. So I'm gonna do another square that kind of goes opposite this and makes a diamond here. So I'm gonna come back out over here. So from the back to the front side. And then I know that I want to go over this way, so 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm on the back, so I need to make sure I go from the back to the front. And I see that I missed this here, so I'm going to go back over here and close that up. And I need to complete this side here, so I'm going to come up over here and then go back down here. When I am done with those 2, I am going to cut my string and tape it, and I'm going to start with another color. So I have my next color. I just need to thread my needle, and now I'm going to do one of these squares here, and I'm going to switch colors and I'm going to do my other square as well.